Okay. I want to make this very clear first of all. I won't be streaming Minecraft tonight. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Okay. Now that I got that out of the way, I want to clear up a pretty dang, well, my interpretation of the law. The misunderstanding I seem to be seeing a lot of. Because I've read through Section 107 and I've read through the Fair Use Clause and Fair Use Clause of the DMCA and the Fair Use Law. And I just want to... Yeah. Okay. I just want to make this perfectly clear. You make any money off of anything you do, off of any other company's videos, you are putting yourself at risk for content ID claims or copyright strikes. Because fair use does not cover monetization. As soon as you start making money off of it, you go into a gray area where it's decided upon by the companies whether or not to put a copyright strike or content ID on you. YouTube's content ID does not check for that. Does not check for monetization. You can disrupt it, you can dispute it and have the companies themselves check it. But the content ID system does not decide that. It just checks for copyrighted content in the video itself. And if Mojang really wanted to, they could set up a content ID system on YouTube for Minecraft if they really wanted to. But they don't. Because that's how they grew. That's how Minecraft grew. And they know that. That's why they don't set it up. Mojang has the rights to Minecraft. As seen here. But they didn't set it up. Okay, I kind of went off on a tangent there. But I just kind of wanted to use an example. Get an example set. Okay, so my basic interpretation and pretty much everyone else's interpretation of the law on YouTube, except for partners, they make this interpretation, and I'm no different. Anything that you upload at all, until you start making money off of it, falls under fair use. Okay. That's out of the way. That is pretty obvious. Everyone knows that. Now, monetization. Making money off of the stuff you upload. That's where it gets troublesome for YouTube. Because in general, they have to uphold the copyright laws of the United States. But the stuff I do would fall under international copyright law, which is which presents complications of its own. pretty much everything, every game you play now falls under international copyright treaties. And in which case, not monetizing your videos really helps your case with fair use. Because international copyright treaties state that anything if you don't make money off of it, it still belongs. You don't get issues. You don't have issues because you're technically posting a review or criticism of said content. Now, movies. This is where YouTube has had its issues in the past. It's full movies and full songs. Now, I have no problem. I have no qualm because I've never had it happen. I've never had a content strike against me due to a song. I've had audio muted, but I've never had a copyright strike against me for a song. For a specific song. But I completely agree with YouTube's stance on that matter. Any music that is not uploaded by the actual content creator of said song or the record company is considered illegal and is set forth by the entertainment industry, by the record industry. But I am also part of the growing majority for the Creative Commons license, where everything should be equal. No company should have all rights, should have all the rights to one thing. It should belong to the artist, and the artist should decide whether or not to make money off of it. I am of that opinion. Now, I do believe in content creators, the actual creators of the content YouTubers are filming, making money. I agree with that. They created the material, they should be able to make a profit. But there's also the issue of, and I don't care, this is just a throwaway world to have a backdrop for this recording. People really should take a look into the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which has not been invalidated. Which was not invalidated by the fair use. In fact, it was strengthened. By fair use. Just let me lose this last half a heart, please. Thank you. So really, what YouTube is focusing on with its new content ID system is actually very relevant to the motion pictures and record industries. Motion Pictures Association of America is actually one of the least strict, if I do say so, of all the industries. They still do have their issues with certain sites. I won't name them, but that's of their opinion. And I'm sure it's of the opinion of the majority of filmmakers that there's no point in fighting the internet. You can't control the internet. No matter how hard you try, you cannot control it. That is where people are getting angry. Is the government is trying to enforce control over what cannot be controlled. Now, there is issues with the DMCA in that it needs to be updated. It needs to be rewritten and updated. But its basic clauses, the basic clauses for it are still relevant. And the Fair Use Act, which supersedes the DMCA, but was actually implemented into it as part of the main law, the DMCA already had a fair use clause in it. It just was very vague in its wording. Section 107 of said Fair Use Act is a lot less liberal of said interpretation. It spells out the terms directly instead of it I'm just doing this on purpose because I really have nothing else to do while I'm talking. That's interesting. Come on, punch down there. There we go. What was I talking about? I completely forgot. But the main point is that the content creators should not be complaining. YouTube is just doing what it has to do. I don't agree with the decisions that they have made to enforce what they have to do to enforce said laws, but it's their method for doing it, and really, Google has, the way I see it, Google has improved YouTube. I don't mind the Google Plus thing or any of that. It's all just extra features on the site that help identify the creators uniquely. And you'll actually notice that none of the big names complain about said Google Plus. Nor do I, because I know there's no point. There is no point in me complaining. It won't get changed. It's already been implemented and there's no turning back. So it doesn't really matter what I say. Even some of the bigger names don't have any influence in what goes on. The only people who have any say in what YouTube does is YouTube's board of directors and Google. They are the only two groups that have any say in what YouTube does. They may take the community's opinion into account, but as a general rule, they follow their own decisions based on gain and gain and loss. So they judge not enforcing the copyright laws more strictly as a loss. And I can see where that mindset comes from. But they could have done it better. Because the system where pretty much anybody, if you know how to, can claim videos for content, for copyright, is just stupid. The government gives you a form. I don't remember its exact name. But the government gives you a form. Or basically, I think it's like a 10 to 100 page booklet, basically, stating that you own the rights to this content, la da 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 da, and that you are responsible for enforcement of this agreement. Now, any basically EULA you read, that's basically what it's saying, is that do not redistribute unless you have permission, or, well, actually it says do not distribute. The EULA is the end user license agreement, in which case you are not allowed to redistribute the content in any way, shape, or form. Only the original creators can distribute the content. Now with the advent of the internet, that's pretty much dead. That form of agreement is pretty much dead. That's where your standard licenses came from. And a lot of companies, I think, are starting to switch over. A lot of your smaller companies are starting to switch over to GPL or LJGPL. LGPL. Blech. That's a tongue twister. Or basically your open source licenses, the general public usage licenses. Now, as I said, I have no qualm about DMCA or YouTube, what they do. What they do with their website is of no concern really to me, because I do it because I like to do it. I don't do it to make money off of it. If I make money off of it, it's just a bonus. I just do it because I like to do it. So there's no real point in me complaining, but I don't completely agree with YouTube either. I'm just going to say that people should be a little bit more careful. Because generally when you get Content ID, you're just being stupid. You forget to edit something out, or forget to get rid of background music, or what have you. You may notice that I didn't have music turned off on this one. That is because Mojang has contracts with C418 to allow basic redistribution rights to Mojang, but also it gets rid of any possible issues with third-party content claims on YouTube. This would actually be a good spot for a beach house. I don't know. I feel like I've just been rambling. But really, it's... unless you do something really stupid, you shouldn't concern yourself over... I mean, there are people that have turned YouTube into their basic career. and to their jobs, to their full-time jobs. But I mean, come on, that's not very good job security. It's one of those things that it's good to do as a hobby. If you can make money off of it, so be it. Good for you, that type of thing. But a hobby should not turn into a job. I mean, I got rid of ad block because I know how hard it is for content creators when people use ad block, but I mean, most of the time, unless you get some really bad, unless you get some serious trolls, if you sincerely ask for it, ask for the people to turn off ad block, they will turn it off. So there really shouldn't be too much of an issue. I think I've rambled on for long enough. Way too many tangents. But I think I got my main point across. I think I got my main opinion across on this subject. And that it shouldn't matter. Oh, there's one final thing. The live stream I just did, this is recorded about not even half an hour or so afterwards. I'm sorry about the sucky video quality and lack of in-game sound. That was actually something that was actually a fault on my end, because I thought Google Plus Hangouts would be a little bit better than it was, but I guess not. And it will be... I'll download it and upscale it. And probably add some... Creative Commons BGM or something just to kind of go into the background. I feel like that's all I really wanted to say. I mean, it's not like... Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop here in a few minutes anyways. So basically, I really don't... It is really none of my concern what YouTube does, because I really don't... I try to follow strictly by Section 107 and the clause under the DMCA, and that it's basically a review or a criticism. And I will follow through with key and visual arts terms of use on that, in that I won't post the endings to the playthroughs. Rewrite and clan ad, I will not post endings to. I'll be doing Canon and Tomoyo after as well. But I won't be posting endings to those either. Trying to figure out if there was anything else I really wanted to talk about. I think I really just wanted to rant. So, and to kind of blow off some steam, because I've been seeing videos left and right about major YouTubers complaining about the new Content ID system. And really, they didn't change it. Unless I missed something from YouTube directly, they didn't change it. They just went into another cleanup. I've noticed these kinds of patterns before where YouTube goes into a cleanup phase where they'll mark pretty much every other video with high amounts of views with anything that could be third-party content with a Content ID. With a Content ID. Now, I don't agree with how they go about finding that out. But generally, I don't care. I do it because I want to, so I generally don't care. If I get a copyright strike, I'll start being really careful and kind of plan ahead on everything I do. But unless I really need to, I'll generally just take the minimal amount of precautions. I haven't gotten a single visual claim yet with Rewrite, basically. But that's because I've been using it as fair use. I've been playing through it under the guise of fair use. That's really all I wanted to say. I think I got everything out there now. A few tangents and a couple updates, and apologizing for the low quality and lack of game audio with the recent stream. I probably won't be streaming Rewrite again. I'll be recording it. I won't be streaming it. But well, I think it's just due to my internet, really. I have a really bad upload on my internet right now. But comes down to it, it really shouldn't. Unless you do something really stupid, it won't affect you type of thing with the new Content ID. And just to wrap things up, nice and neat, the Minecraft name and logo are copyright of Mojang. And I will see you all next time.